Now,
Yes.
because I'm on the phone and on the screen and whatever. Are we good?
Yes.
Okay, fine. Okay, and so going back to the sugya, hearing myself, that we said that Shmuel has this din where if somebody steals, tonight's whole daf is going to be about somebody stealing the field and selling it to someone. He sold somebody to Brooklyn Bridge. Continuation of the previous daf. So there, Shmuel had said that it looks like rivers. If the guy puts in, obviously he gets his money back for the field that he paid. But what about his improvements? So Shmuel says you can't give him his improvements because it looks like rivers. Right? So then we had a brisa that says that somebody steals a field, then with the achilas peiros, what do you do? You pay back for the peiros that are in the field. So the Mishnah had said that there's a steerer there because the Mishnah said if he steals a field, so you give back the chasim, you give back the keren, meaning the principal from the chasim shabadim, and is are you hearing feedback?
You're good.
Okay, because I'm hearing feedback. Um, anyway, so you pay from the chasim shabadim and you pay back the payers. So the Gemara asks, how could it be if it's a gazlan, right? So where's he collecting it from? Meaning the guy stole a field and he wants to get back his money. What do you mean? You're a crook. Why are you getting back your money for? So it must be that he stole a field from his friend and he sold it to somebody else, and the guy had improvements, and you see that you're allowed to pay for the improvements. So Rava had a teretz and Rava Barafuna had a teretz. Rava's teretz was that they talking about where the guy messed with the field, he dug holes, etc. in it. And Rava Baravuna said that it's talking about where people stole the field from the crook. Whatever it is, the stira in the Mishnah, the Brisa had to understand why you're paying for the improvements in the field or not. So Rav Ashi has his third teretz. Rav Ashi Omar, but stud in Katani, you have to learn the Brisa with literally means to sides, which means that you have to learn it to there's two different cases in the Mishnah. Like a gun shegazal sada mechaver, if a guy steals a sada from his friend, malaya paris, full of fruit, and a guy steals a field with full of paris, va'achal es a paris, and he eats the paris, umachar es a sada, and he sold the field. Right, a real crook. He goes and he steals the fruit, and he sells the field. So if the lekeach, now the lekeach got ripped off, if the buyer got ripped off, the lekeach ligos keren. If he comes to collect the keren, government chasim shabadim, then he could even collect it from the chasim, from belongings that are meshubah to somebody else. Or nigzal ligvas peiris. If the nigzal comes to collect peiris, meaning the one that got stolen from, it's two different cases here. The lekeach is the guy who bought the field from the crook, the guy who bought the Brooklyn Bridge. So if he wants to get his money back, he gets it from the chasim shabadim. If the nigzal, meaning the original owner of the field, comes and he wants to get his fruit, then government and he collects from available properties of the crook. So basically, he's saying it's two different cases. Instead of saying the Bryce is one case, talking about two different people going after the crook. You have the guy who owned the field, and you have the guy who the field was sold to. Because this guy that stole the field is actually messing with two people. He's messing with the guy he stole the field from, and he's messing with the guy that he sold the field to. So therefore, there's going to be no stealer. So the Gemara asks, Ben l'Rava Baravuna, which was the previous tirutim, Malva Pehu. Basically, when a crook steals, so we're saying that it's looked at as like a loan, since he sold him a bag of goods, right? A bag of nothing. And he sold him the Brooklyn Bridge. So it's as if it was looked at as a loan. That's the way Shmuel looks at it. It's looked at like he has a loan. So Umalva Peh ain't a government chasim shabadim, but it's what kind of loan? It can't. There was no star written here. It's a stolen property. They didn't write a star, so it's a malva peh. A malva peh ain't a government chasim shabadim. Malva peh does not collect from the chasim shabadim.
Why don't we ask this question on Ravashi?
Because Ravashi it's not the guy. The only one that's coming to collect Paris. Oh, is the Paris is from the guy that got stolen from. So he's entitled. Saying why doesn't okay? I thought Pashut because he's getting back something that was stolen from him.
No, we're talking about the Lekech.
I'm saying whatever that the Lekech got nothing because the owner came back to take it.
I understand, but it's still a Milva Peh. How's it not a Milva Peh?
I don't know. Well, I thought okay. Isn't there something different between the way Ravashi is learning it?
Ravashi learns
Rav
it
and
Stadim, but the case remains, the core case of the Gaiva Menachasim Shabbatim is still the Lekech.
Right, so the owner could have this taina. Oh,
It's still
really
a Milva Peh.
Right. I hear. That's a good question. I hear. I'm not sure. I'll have to think about that. Okay, very good. But either way, but for Rav and Rav Huna, certainly a question. All this is a verbal loan. And a malva peh, you can't go take from belongings that are indebted. So when I'm asking Kashamar Bedin, it's talking about where they already bought him to Bezdin. Before he sold it, he was already in Bezdin that he stole a field, which is a call. Once there's a rumor about it, then it's as if there's a star, because that means then you could go. Meaning the reason why you can't with the malval peh, you can't go after properties that the guy already sold, is because how is somebody supposed to know about it? They didn't have title companies back then. So how are you supposed to know if it was a verbal loan? So we're not going to say that the guy can go collect from properties that the person sold after the loan. But when there's a call to it, so then the guy should have known. So we're saying here that there was a call to it because the guy was already caught and he was in Bezdin and then he sold it. All right, so and then he sold it. So the guy should have known. He should have known, even though we're looking at it like it's a loan and it's a verbal loan, but he should have known. He wants to see Hafi Peres Nami. So then the fruits also should be able to go from property that had liens on it. It's talking about when he was Ahmed on the din on the Karen, meaning they only brought him to Bezdin on the principle of the field. The Loy Ahmed Bedin ala Peres, they didn't bring him to din on Peres. When it says my pascha, what's the psak? What do you mean by that? Where do you get that somebody goes into din on Karen and not on the Paris? And when I answer Stama de Milsa, the regular thing is kitava inish karna tava beresha. When a person's trying to get back his money from something that was stolen for him, the first thing he's going to go after is the Karen, right? He's not going to go after the payers. He wants to make sure he gets his field back before he gets his payers. After he gets his field, then he'll worry about the fruits that the guy took. Right? So the Gemara asks, so the Sover Shmuel like Keach Migazan Leslie Shvacha. So again, now going back to the original thing we said, that Shmuel held that you're not allowed to take payment for the improvements in the field. Because essentially what happened was this crook basically, by selling you the Brooklyn Bridge, basically just borrowed money from you. And now he's going to pay it back. And if he pays you back for the improvements, then it looks like it's ribbis. So that's you can't get paid back for the improvements. Is that true? Shmuel said that to Rav Chinuda Bashelas Amlich, you should ask we had this blot ago or 2 blot ago, when you're doing a real estate agreement, you should ask the seller. Amlich means to take advice or ask the seller if he doesn't mind whether you put into the shtar that if the field gets taken away, the kosov in writing it shufra, that he can take his best property, shvacha, and you can take for the improvements. He's going to get money for the improvements, uperi, and for the fruit. Meaning, if you're a smart guy and you want to make sure you're covered, and you're going to buy a guy's field, you're going to work on it for 5 years, and then 5 years later, the guy's going to come back and say, you're the guy that sold you this field defaulted on his loan, and I can take the field. So if you're smart, you make sure you write in the contract that you're going to be able to take the best fields. You're going to take back payment on the best fields and for the improvements and the payers. But Shmuel's saying you have to ask. So now, what's this case talking about? But we explained the cases of Baal Chayiv. If it's talking about a Baal Chayiv, meaning the guy is owed money, the guy you bought the field from owes money, islay peri. Do you get payers? Shmuel Baal Chayiv goyves hashvach. A Baal Chayiv, meaning a guy, the lender, who's coming to repossess a field, only gets the improvements. Shvach in of a payer's life. Mashra doesn't get payers. So it can't be talking about a Baal Chayiv, because he says you're allowed to ask for payers. Elalav v'lekech migazlan. Must be talking about where he took it from a gazlan. Right? And yet you see that he's allowed to ask for his improvements. It's talking about where the crook, the crook sold this guy the Brooklyn Bridge, owns his own fields also. In which case he will have to give those fields to the guy he sold the Brooklyn Bridge to. So since he has that, it doesn't have to look like that it's a loan, a financial monetary loan. It could look like if he pays him back with the field, then it could look like he just gave him back a field, in which case it's not going to look like ribbis. It only looks like ribbis if money is changing hands. So therefore, since the Ganav has his own fields, and that's what he's giving here, so this doesn't look like ribbis. So meaning, now he could give him a field that's worth more. Meaning, let's say he sold him the Brooklyn Bridge for $1 billion, but the guy owns the Empire State Building. So he says, you know what? I'm not giving you back the Brooklyn Bridge. I'll give you back the Empire State Building. The Empire State Building is worth $100,000 more, let's say. But even though even though he's getting extra money, the buyer, but it doesn't look like ribbis, because it's just fields changing hands. This should get us ready for Ezu Neshech, which is in about a month and a half, as Hashem, about Pesach time of all times, which is one of the hardest program all about ribbis, but very negeya. So again, we're talking about where he had karka. So Amalei Abaye, if he butter lilvais, saw b'saw b'makom sheyesh lekarka. So saw b'saw is one of the most common ribbis shilas out there. Saw b'saw is basically you're not allowed to borrow a saw, which is a measurement, and pay back with a saw. Basically, you can't go to your neighbor and borrow a saw of flour and then pay back with a saw of flour, because since the prices fluctuate, it could be when you borrow the saw of flour from your neighbor, flour is going for $2, and then the price of the flour goes up, and then you're paying it back a flour, and it's going to be $3.
Fluctuates on a daily basis nowadays?
It doesn't have to be daily, but doesn't mean you're borrowing it for a day.
I'm saying, but if I give it back 4 days later,
No, they
the
made
next
us
time
takonat chachamim. You can't do it.
no. So I'm saying, if the
can't do
price,
it.
okay,
Because of the chashash. Excuse me.
You're
Can't do
buying,
it.
if you borrow a cup of flour from your neighbor, you can't return a cup of flour.
Exactly. I mean, let's let's hold out till we get to this parak and see what all the different. There are kulas for if it's somebody that you're constantly borrowing back and forth, and they're not makbid. So then there's you don't have to worry unless it's a big difference. Like in my family, I don't know if Peretz is on. I can't see his head, but in my family, me and parents borrow back and forth. We got no cheshbonis. You know, we try to keep some sort of. Other people in the family, when they borrow, they know good and well that you're gonna get a bill exactly how much it is. So those people, Aaron Kaplan's laughing. So yeah.
Tiago, because we got the
So-
same thing here. We got some of us have no cheshbonis, but some of us got down to the penny.
Correct. So the ones that you have the ones you have a relationship with them is the cheshbonis, then Salbasa is the problem. For those that you don't have cheshbonis, so then it's fine. But this shaila happens all the time. A medium egg, you borrow medium eggs, and then you bought in the store extra large eggs. Can you give them back? You get one brand flour, and then you want to pay back with a different brand of flour. Oils is a big one. I don't know, for some reason women are always running out of oil. So that's
Is the issue that it may be ribis?
that too. Yes, the issue is rivets.
So that's only if the value goes up.
No,
Correct,
they
but
made
since we
the
don't know the takana.
takana. You can't do it no matter what now.
You can go from a large
they're
egg to a
abundant, though.
medium egg.
Isn't ribis so you help somebody? And this is
You can help
preventing you from
somebody,
helping somebody.
Just don't
But
get
is it-
paid back. Just don't get paid back.
But this is preventing you from helping somebody sometimes.
Ribis is not helping
Why?
anyone. Ribis
You
is
give it, you can't-
Because if someone wants to
to
borrow eggs, they want eggs, and they give you back. They don't have to go. What's it called? It's such a stress that no extra large. Then no one cares.
Then
There
don't
are
take
people
it
who-
back.
but
That's
the-
the bigger-
But the people who make cheshbonos care.
right.
I'll
It's a
tell you,
personality
Ribis,
thing.
the
They
word
don't
is not that
keep
you're
working with that.
helping them.
I don't mean it's not
I'm
the
telling
bar
you.
not helping them.
The idea of
I'm telling
Ribis
you,
is
can
that
help
the terrorists,
people.
says
I
you
can't
cannot
hear the rabbi.
pay-
Naftali, you're helping them even more if you don't take back the food.
So I can say don't give it back. That's it. Okay. I'm
Yeah,
saying if I
Naftali's already getting so I can't lend it to you. I can't give you oil because it says no. The issue is to take back, not to give it.
okay.
Is that what you're saying, Akiva? Or
There's an issue, first of all, in the lender and the borrower, according to the Torah. Both are also to engage in
That's true,
Ribis.
but this
But
is their abundance.
right, but even the Duraban's modeled after the Deraisa. For the most part,
Correct.
you can't. The Iker, the Gemara says in Ezer Neshach, the Iker Isser of Ribis is because you're not allowed to basically rent money. That's the Torah's you say. You're not allowed to rent money, and there's many things that come out from that. But the idea is you're not allowed to rent money, and if it looks like you're renting money, that's usher as well, from both the Malva side and the Leva side.
Correct, but it's only if you take back something.
Understood. You are taking back something.
Actually, right before we got on, no, you don't. If you don't take it back, you're not taking back anything.
If you never pay Ribis, of course, then it's not usher. Why would that be usher?
No, it's not usher. It's not usher. Somebody actually just asked me that he took an interest-free loan for 5 years. Mamish, right before we got on, I just remembered it now. He took an interest-free loan for 5 years. But he said the inflation rate is through the roof now. So now he's going to pay it back. The guy's really out from some money. So I don't know how
What is
that
it?
works with inflation.
What does that mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? He's really, the guy that lent it is it?
When he lent them $1,000 5 years ago, it could buy him 1,000 hot dogs. Now he's giving him $1,000. It could buy him 50 hot dogs.
So
Well, he just cost the guy a lot of money, so he wants to maybe adjust.
you're
it for
always costing
inflation.
somebody money. Money. That's the whole point of Ribis. You're not allowed to, even
No,
though it
it's
makes
not.
sense that you shouldn't. You should be able to charge to lend somebody money. It's still usher. Ribis doesn't make sense because when you
No.
lend money, you should be able to money
No,
itself.
no,
Akiva, this is the other way
is worth
around.
mo-
Akiva, this is the other way around. You should have to pay back more without Ribis
Why should you have to pay back more?
because the value of $1,000 is less than it was.
It's always
not giving
less.
back what he borrowed. If you have
The
to
time
give back
value
what
of
you
money
borrowed,
says it's always going to be less 5 years down the road, no matter what. Every time, with inflation or without inflation. That's the natural way money works.
what?
$1,000
because of
today is worth
inflation.
much less tomorrow. That's always the way money works, whether you have skyrocketing inflation or not. Money today is worth more than money a year down the road. That's always true. That's how banks create mortgages.
Yeah, so you can't
Do it the
argue
opposite.
You throw depreciation at us. You gotta be careful.
It's not depreciation. It's not just the opposite. It's called the time value of money.
I know. I
You
knew
just
you-
said money today is worth more than tomorrow.
Yes, that is 1,000% true.
I understand. Okay, I was thinking the opposite. Fine, you're right. You're right.
Whatever. But it's okay. The question
That's
is
always
how you
true.
deal with the
Money is worth more today, no matter what. That's why the Isser of Ribbis doesn't really make sense. It's worth more. Of course, you should be able to charge Ribbis. The fact that I can have money without
No,
actually paying for
Akiva,
it.
that's not
for
what
2
Ribbis
years?
is. That's not what
Ribbis is a
Ribbis
Chiddush
is.
Torah, not a Chiddush Torah. It's a custom.
No, going back to what you said before, that Ribbis is renting money. You're not renting
The Gemara
money by
says
getting
that.
the vet. Akiva, hold on a second. You're not renting money by paying back the value that you received. That's not renting money. That's giving back what you got. Renting money is on top of that. Charging for time.
Right. I mean, but that's naturally the way things are done.
Okay, the economics classes are going to start at 10:30 for those who want to join.
I'm just repeating the words of the Gemara. The Gemara says the Isser of
And
Ribbis is because of Star Agronat. That's what the Gemara says.
Ezu Nesha, we said already, it's going to start in a month and a half. So when we start Ezu Nesha, we'll get to it.
Okay, Shai. We'll have a good time with this in Ezu Nesha. But the point is that Sabis saw is a Gezerah Derabanan because prices fluctuate. And like Akiva is saying, really prices fluctuate usually up. Except when Bigo comes to town, but we're not going down that road. All right. So what are we up to here? So the problem is that Sabis saw here because he bought a field and he's borrowed a field and he's paying him back a field. So it should be Asa. So where do we leave off here? Again, Amalei Abaye v'chi mutter lilvay Sabis saw b'makom sheyesh lekarka. Can you do Sabis saw with his carcass? Amalei hasam halva hachas vini. There it's a halva. So we're more concerned. Here it's a sale. Even though we're afraid that the sale looks like Ribbis, but by Etzem it was a sale. The crook sold him the Brooklyn Bridge. It wasn't a halva. He didn't come straight out and say halva. So therefore we don't have to be worried about Sabasah. Ikadamri, Amar of Yosef, it's talking about where they did a Kinyan Sudder, exactly what goes on by a wedding. Because by the Eidim, by a wedding, represent the Kala, or the Ksuba. Right? They take the handkerchief or they take the yarmulke from the Eidim, give it to the Chassan picks it up, and then he's makna the Ksuba to the woman. Right? So that's what happened here with the Eidim. The Eidim on the sale took a Kinyan Sudder and they were actually kinda the field. So therefore it was an actual purchase. And when it says is Sabasa mutter where it was bought? Meaning where he said he's going to pay for it? So the same teretz. There is a halva and hachas vini. Here it's vini. So when it's a halva, we have the gzeir sabasa. When it's just a purchase, so then we don't have the gzeir sabasa.
Is this not a davar shalom?
Is it not?
You have no idea. It's not a set amount. How can you hire yourself on an unknown set amount that you have no idea how much he's going to be mashbiach the field?
Is it davar shaloi bala olam? I don't know why it should be a davar shaloi bala olam. Right? Why should it be a davar shaloi bala olam? I mean, he knows what the field is and what it's worth. No,
he has no idea how much shvach he's going to put into the field.
That's true. But I don't know if it has to do with the shvach. It's just as long as he's meshubed on the field, then that's enough.
But he's being mishabed himself for the shvach. That's the point.
Yeah, I hear. But okay, I'm not sure how that works. I think maybe it comes up in 2 blot. I'm not sure 3 blot. Okay, so Gufa. Amar Shmuel, Baal Chayiv Goyves the Shvach. So the Baal Chayiv, a Baal Chayiv is allowed to collect the Shvach. right? Why? Because we're assuming he's going to get paid back. Amar Rava, how do you know? Teda, that how do you know that the guy, the owner of the field, sorry, the Balchoiv, the owner of the loan, who's coming to collect the field, is allowed to take the improvement? Why? Because the guy who bought the field from the borrower is gonna also get paid back for his improvements. So since he's gonna get paid for improvements, so therefore the owner of the loan, the lender, can take improvements. This is what the Moicha writes in Lekeach. Ana Ekum, I'm gonna stand up for Ashpi, and I'm gonna be quiet for Adki, and be pure. Meaning Rashi says pure from anybody that complains. He's basically saying, I'm going to guarantee you that this field is gonna, if it gets taken away, I'm gonna pay up. For Amrik Zvini Elon, and we're gonna clean this Zvini Inon, the karka, Amaleon, and anything, the amelus, the work that went into it, Vishachayan, and how much it was improved. Ve'ekum kadavav, and I'm gonna stand in front of you and Vitzavi and make a deal. Zvina Danan, this sale, the Kibbutz, and he's makabel on himself. Basically, the seller was saying, I'm going to cover you from head to toe. So, and therefore, since he's going to be covered head to toe, so therefore, the Baal Choiv can take the improvement. Some of the Rav Chia Barav and the Rava, and Amiyata Matana Dolik Sivlei Hati, but a Matana, a guy, nobody writes this as a Matana, meaning if I'm going to give somebody a land as Matana, I'm not going to guarantee it to him. Oh, by the way, if the land gets taken away from me, I'm going to give you a different land. That you don't do with a matana. So matana deloy ksivlei hachi hachanami deloy tarav shvacha. So then that means that the guy who is owed money, the lender who's coming to take this field, cannot get the improvements. Amalei, yes, that is correct. He cannot get the improvements. The Gemara says, so you're saying that a present is actually stronger, meaning getting a present is stronger than a sale, meaning a sale, the guy paid for the field. And he's the guy that got the matana is in a better spot. I'm gonna lay in yafa v'yafa. Yes, it's better. Better as a matana. We have a brisa that proves what Shmuel says. And Huna, our friend, says it's talking about something else. Somebody says a field to his friend, and the field goes out from his hand, meaning it was taken away. So when the guy who bought the field goes and collects back the money that he paid for the field because it was taken away from him, he gets the principal from even the chosim that are indebted to other people, and the improvements he gets from b'nei chayrim. Right? So that's a proof to what we just said to Shmuel. But Huna, our friend, says it's not talking about a regular case of Baal Chayv. It's talking about a lekeach megazlan. It's talking about a lekeach from a gazlan. And there he says you could take the improvements, which is not like Shmuel. That's not what we were saying from Shmuel. Okay, so Tanya, we have another bride.
So Yaakov, if the land went up by, like, let's say $50 more than what the chayv is, you're able to keep that even though you only own, I'll say $100. Let's say it was $100 piece of land, and he improved it to another $50. So really, you're getting more than the chayv itself at the end of the day.
Oh, so well, yeah. So right. So let's see. Let's wait till I'm a base for that. So let's see. So Tanya, we have another bride. The guy sells it to his friends, and he puts improvements into it. And then the Baal Chayv, meaning the lender, comes and takes it away. So when he collects it, I'm sorry, this is actually Gemara Akiva. I thought it was on a base. So if the improvement is worth more than the expenses, meaning he put in $50, now it's worth $100 more. So then so he takes the improvements from the owner of the karka, meaning from the guy that sold it, and the expenses for what went into it, and like this, he's squared up and he's good. But if the expenses went in and he did not recoup his expenses, all he gets is the expenses for up to what the Baal Chayv is. So now for Shmuel, so what's Shmuel going to say? How's Shmuel going to say this price? Even like if it's talking about from the Gazlan, if somebody talking from the Gazlan, Kasha Resha, it's a Kasha from the Resha. The Amar Shmuel lekech Gazlan let's lay shvacha. If you take it from a Gazlan, you don't get the shvach, right? Because of ribbis. Even Balchoim, and it was talking about Kasha Resha v'Seifa. It's a Kasha from the Resha and the Seifa. The Amar Shmuel, Balchoim goes the shvach. The Balchoim collects the shvach, right? And here we're saying that he does not. It's talking about we'll have three pshatim. The first one is somewhere we took him from a gazlan, could go sheyesh karka. Or it's the gazlan that has karka. So like we said before, once he has karka, then it doesn't look like rivis. So mamela, it's allowed. Inami, b'shekanu miyadai, or somewhere where like we said, where the Eidim were kind of from the Ganav to pay for the shvach of the crook, of the land that the crook sold. Ibay Zema, a Baal Chayv, always say it's talking about a Baal Chayv, like Kasha. Oh, you have a stira. So Kan b'shvach, on top of Beis, one is talking about a shvach hamagir l'kaspayim. We had this in Bava, I think. One is talking about the shvach where the grain already hit the shoulders. So meaning it's almost totally ripe, and it's considered like peiros. So the Baal Chayv doesn't get that. Kan b'shvach she'ena magir l'kaspayim, and one is somewhere where the shvach did not get to the shoulders. So therefore, that's considered part of the karka, and that's his. But there's meisim b'chol yom that Shmuel took shvach that's got even screw up to the shoulders. One is talking about where he asked for a shear of land and the improvements. And one is where all he asks for is the field. So he gives him shvach, and then he leaves. Fine. So the Gemara asks, so there's an interesting machlokes. So here again, you have what are we talking about? Where a guy buys land, then comes out that the guy he bought the land from had a loan, and now there's a lien on it, and then the lender comes and takes the field. What happens if the guy who bought the field from the borrower says, I have money, I'll just pay you back the money. Don't take the field. Can he do that? So that's a machlokes. So according to the shita that says you can't do that, so then shapir, then it makes sense that the Baal Chayv can collect everything, including the shvach. Elamando Amar, but according to Mando, it says when the lekeach has money, matzi masalik leila Baal Chayv, and he can pay back the Baal Chayv. Name alay. When he said in ilu havali zuzi, if I would have had money, let's say I had money, I could have knocked you out of this hole. You couldn't collect this field. You'd be forced to take my money. Now that I don't have money, at least give me a little piece of land to pay back what I put into it. And he's saying theoretically, I could have paid you and you wouldn't get anything. All right. So at least give me something. So the Gemara answers, we can't say that. It's talking about where he made the field into a paitiki. A paitiki means that he specifically said that if I can't pay back the loan, this field is going to the Baal Chayv. So in that case, then the field has to go back to the Baal Chayv, even if the borrower has money. The Amar Lei, as he says, because he says you can only take the payment from this field. Fine. Okay, that's the harder part of the daf. The next part of the daf is a little easier. And now again, going back, we're talking about a guy, a crook, who is sells a stolen field. Right? He sold the Brooklyn Bridge. So now the Gemara asks, Hikr ba she'ena shaloi. Let's say you recognize that it wasn't the seller, meaning this guy brought the Brooklyn Bridge, but he knew he was buying the Brooklyn Bridge, meaning he knew this guy's a scammer, and he still bought it. So now what? Now he made his own bed. So the question is, do we say, okay, it's your tough luck? So again, Hikr ba she'ena shaloi, he realized the guy's a scammer, and he still bought it. The luck, and he bought it. So what's the din? So Omar Rav, we're going to know the machlekes Rav and Shmuel. Moes yesh loi, he gets the money. Shvach ein loi, meaning he gets back his money, even though he knew he was getting involved with the crook, but he does not get his improvements back. And Shmuel Omar, afilu moes ein loi, he doesn't even get back his money. What's a pshat? So b'makom, what's a pshat in this machlekes? So Rav Savar, Adam Yedeh she karka ein loi. The man knows that there's no karka to him. The gomer v'nasan l'shum pekadin. And so why did he do this for? He basically said to himself, this guy obviously needs money. He's a real tzaddik, this guy. He's saying, this crook needs money, so I'll buy it off of him. And I know that's going to get taken away from me, and the crook is going to have to pay me back. Okay, so I'm helping him out. I'm basically lending him money. Okay, so if he wanted to lend the crook money, why not just lend him money? So Gemara asks, just give it, tell him it's for his bekadin. No, he has pride. Well, that's true that the pride is the next terrace. Here it's that he's not pride. He's going to tell the guy, oh, so here's some money. Can you watch my money? He doesn't want the responsibility. Right? Fine. So then that's the way Rav looks at it. So the guy planned on getting back his money, so therefore he'll get back his money when the crook is caught. He knows that the karka is not his karka, but gomer v'nasan l'shum matana. And he decided he's going to give him a present. He said, this guy's a poor guy. He's down and out. And he's going to he'll just buy the field off of him, and he doesn't ever plan on getting back money. So Meli doesn't get back money. Right? So, okay, but the name of Leila Shumatana, so why doesn't he just give him a matana? Why do you have to go buy stolen property? So Ksifale Milsa, he says, it's embarrassing. He's embarrassed. He has pride. He doesn't want to take matana. So instead, we have this whole Ponzi scheme to try and give the guy money. And even though it's Geneva, I can't say I understand the rationale behind this. So basically, you're justifying the guy stealing because he has pride that he doesn't want to take a present. So therefore, we justify you buying a stolen property from him.
It's back in the day when there was honor amongst thieves.
You mean, so you're saying 1 second, so there's honor, and therefore what?
Oh, there's an expression nowadays that there's no honor amongst thieves. But back in those days, they had honor.
Right, I guess. Yeah, it's true. And now they'll backstab each other too. Anyway, so because he was embarrassed, so you could do this. The Gemara says, well, we already had this machlokes before. Let's say a guy marries his sister. Now, we all know that a person cannot marry his sister. So what's going on here? It doesn't even work, the Kedushin. So Rav Amar Mois Chayzrin, he gets back the money, meaning he buys a ring for his sister, gives it to her, he can take back the money. Shmuel Amar Mois Matana, no, he does not get back the money. The Rav Amar Mois Chayzrin, the money goes back. Adam Yedei Shein Kedushin Taisen Ba Chayza. A person knows that Kedushin doesn't work with his sister. But Gomer V'Nasan L'Shum B'Koden says, oh, my sister needs some money, so I'll give her money by marrying her. But name L'Shum B'Koden, why doesn't he just give her money? Well, I don't think he needs to give her money. I'm going to give her money to watch. So why doesn't he just ask his sister to watch the money? Because she's not going to want to watch it. So therefore, he does it this way. The money's in matana. A person knows that kedushin doesn't work with his sister, but going matana, it's an easy way for him to give his sister money. Okay, so the name of matana. So why didn't he tell her that it's for a matana? It's embarrassing. Fine. So now we have two of the exact same machlokes in Rav and Shmuel. So why do we need two? Again, one is talking about by stolen property, and one is talking about being mekadosh your sister. Right, so we need both. In this case, Rav said that the money is considered a pekadon. So you have the issue. You have a matanas l'nechra. Nobody goes around giving presents to strange people. But I guess they'll give him money to watch. I don't know, but okay, but that's what he's saying. But by a sister, he's made the shmul that maybe taka the money's a present. And if you say that it's by the case of the sister, b'hakam or shmul, that's what he says is the present. But by a stranger, that you don't give a stranger a present, you give him something for you to watch. So that's what we need both cases. Fine. So the Gemara asks, Spain the Rav,
Does
because
Nechra mean does Nechra mean a stranger or a non-related person?
You're right. It probably means a not relative. Yeah, it means it literally means a stranger, but you're right. It's just not a non-relative. But okay, I still don't understand it because maybe you are giving. Oh, yeah. Okay, so Gemara asks, Bein l'Rav dam pekadon, Bein l'Shmuel dam matana. Whether it's Rav that says pekadon, whether it's Shmuel that says matana. Hi la'arav my kanachas. How can he go into somebody's field? How is it possible that you're saying that this guy knows he's buying a stolen property and he's still going to use it? It's very nice he wants to be a Baal Chesed, but how do you go into somebody's field without permission? So Gemara answers, Sover, he thinks like this. I'm going to go down to the field. I'm going to work it, I'm going to eat in it. The same way the crook is doing it, I'm doing it. Meaning, he's thinking the guy that the field was stolen from is not in the field anyway. So it's either me working the field or the ganav. So I might as well do it. And when the owner comes, and I'll give him the money for it. Meaning it's better off in my hands than in the crook's hands. Because the crook maybe won't ever give him any money. So I'll buy the money, I'll buy it off the crook. The crook will have money, and then I will give it back. Sort of like he's making it into a gemach. So the Rav don't pekadon, according to Rav, so what he's going to have to feel is the pekadon. And the Shmuel don't matana is a matana. So that's the rationale behind the guy. Behind what the guy is doing and why he justifies taking the stolen property. So Amar Rav Hilchas Yesh Leimois, halacha is because we have machlokes Rav and Shmuel, whether we're choshesh for whether when he bought a stolen field and he didn't know about it and he put in improvements, that was one machlokes. We had a second machlokes over if he bought the field and he knew about it and he put in improvements, whether he gets back his money at all. Right? So how do we paskin? So Rava says, and where he didn't know about it, he gets the money and he gets the improvements. Even if he didn't say beferish, and he's going to cover him for the improvements. So that's like Rav. And then the second case, Hikrba Sheina Shalai, when the guy bought the stolen property, even when he recognized that it wasn't his, the and he took it. He gets paid back, but he doesn't get the improvements. That's also like Rav. And then one other thing we said from Shmuel is that any time a star does not have achrayas in it, so Shmuel had said that how did it go with Shmuel? So Shmuel said by star halva, it's considered that it was a mistake, and it's as if it's in there. But a star mekach memkar, it's not a mistake, and he will not be able to take from the other properties. That was Shmuel's sheet that achrayas toyes toifer, achrayas meaning the achrayas in a karka, in a land, if it was missing from the star, is just a mistake, and he could still collect. Only applies by a loan, but not by mekach memkar. And the Gemara is saying now, achrayas toyes toiferu bein b'shtari halva, bein b'shtari mekach memkar, whether it's a halva or it's for business, which is also not like Shmuel. So basically, Rava is only paskening straight through like Rav. Okay, I guess we'll stop over here. Yeah, I hope it was shtickle understandable. Second half was easier than the first half, I think. Let's say it to him. Hey, Gimel.